And that means the Darden family is permanently out of politics. Wazed understands that not only more so, but also the commoner Becky Uzil, has caught the prince's attention. Therefore, his school life is going to become much more difficult. The next day, several students are seen wearing lab coats in the magic laboratories. Everyone is talking about our protagonist, the boy who wants to become a knight and defeated Morso Dorden in a duel. Flame hears people talking about Beck everywhere she goes, even though she doesn't want the attention. The alchemy teacher explains that this class requires exact measurements and perfect temperature control. Maureen instructs the students to practice making fatigue recovery potions. Flame becomes irritated because even one mistake can ruin everything. Alchemy is extremely complicated for her, and she wants to avoid these classes altogether. Professor Ma enters the room and scolds several students for making basic mistakes. Flame already knows that this teacher will later become a necromancer and spread chaos in the future. Because of that, she has to attend this class and learn everything carefully in preparation. Suddenly, she glances to the side and notices our hero awkwardly laughing while making potions. She watches him closely. At first, she thought Beck was only attending this class to get close to Assel, but now she thinks he's completely insane and quickly grabs her materials to leave the lab as soon as possible. Some time passes, and with the help of her abilities, Flame quickly finishes the potions. After completing them, she looks for Aziel and notices that she's doing well in class. Flame remembers finding Mion's notebook containing magical machinery notes in this very class in the original story, and she also worries about Tyren's fatigue. Aziel creates an improved version of the recovery potion, and Flame wonders why she's only making the normal version right now. Then she suddenly hears the teacher shouting that Beck Uzil changed the ingredients in the experiment. Our protagonist calmly explains that the alternate ingredients would actually produce a better result. Maureen becomes furious and says that this is not the fatigue recovery potion she ordered them to make. Flame can't believe that a commoner created a superior potion that even Assel was supposed to make. Now she realizes that something strange is happening because Beck replaced Aziel's work with a superior potion. Mei Zentran says she doesn't understand why the commoner has such a bad attitude. Originally, this harsh criticism was supposed to be directed toward Princess Isol's ruined family, which was a traumatic subject for her because she had lost her own family. In the original story, this would continue tormenting her until the end of the game. Flame starts thinking that Beck already knew this and deliberately got himself scolded by the teacher in order to protect Assel. Maureen's influence inside Stellar Academy is enormous, and once a negative mark is placed on a student, it affects grades and future classes as well. Flame wonders why the boy would go this far for us all. Meanwhile, Professor Maureen continues scolding him and says she'll call his parents because he gave the wrong answer. Our hero is so focused on alchemy that he absent-mindedly replies that he doesn't have parents. The teacher is shocked after hearing this. The next day, our protagonist attempts to make a kimchi potion using another strange combination of ingredients. A few weeks pass, and in the same laboratory, Beck gets scolded once again. The teacher becomes angry because he's using ingredients she never approved of, while Beck insists the potion turns out better this way. As they continue arguing, Maureen becomes even more furious. Meanwhile, our hero looks through his special glasses and notices that her dark magic corruption is continuing to grow. He realizes that everything is progressing according to plan. This is episode 8. After all, 1 hour, 32 minutes, 40 seconds. The boss is Morin, who has black corruption. Unable to control her dark emotions, she fell into black corruption and became a villain. When corruption reaches 90%, she transforms into a monster. 1 hour, 32 minutes, and 49 seconds. 1 hour, 32 minutes, 49 seconds. It changes. Progress below 50% isn't detected, and thanks to the glasses, he knows he's currently at 21%. There's no way to prove he's using dark magic. 1 hour, 32 minutes, and 58 seconds. 1 hour, 32 minutes, 58 seconds. She does this because reporting it would increase the corruption to 50. Ordinary corruption could have been reversed before it became a reality. But Mayan has kept her. 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 6 seconds. 1 hour, 33 minutes, 6 seconds. He's voluntarily contracted dark magic. The seed of that magic is growing within him, and there's no way to reverse it. The only option is to call in an extermination team. 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 14 seconds. 1 hour, 33 minutes, 14 seconds. The fourth episode hasn't even started yet, but he's a very strong boss. So he starts preparing in advance. After all, he's the second. 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 21 seconds. 1 hour, 33 minutes, 21 seconds. She can also turn students into dark magic users, threatening Stellar Academy. Seeing our protagonist's bad behavior, she demands that her alchemy class. 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 30 seconds. 1 hour, 33 minutes, 30 seconds. Don't expect good grades. He considers this a good thing because it keeps the attention focused on him and prevents him from losing extra money. In fact, he hadn't even considered that. 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 38 seconds. 1 hour, 33 minutes, 38 seconds. Alchemy will be in the practical test group, which gives him a headache, and Beck notices that the atmosphere is bad because no one wants to work with him. 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 46 seconds. 1 hour, 33 minutes, 46 seconds. The members introduce themselves, and one of them is Asal Mao. They think the team is bad because the teacher will lower their grades because of her hatred for Bicol, but 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 54 seconds. 1 hour, 33 minutes, 54 seconds. Essel says they shouldn't give up. 3 alchemists from Alocasia will evaluate them in the practical test. So Professor Man will assign grades as he pleases. 1 hour, 34 minutes, and 3 seconds. 1 hour, 34 minutes, 3 seconds. She can't spoil it. The students understand this and decide to work hard to get good grades. Our protagonist also agrees with the girls' support. 1 hour, 34 minutes, and 11 seconds. 1 hour, 34 minutes, 11 seconds. A motivating speech cheers them up. Making a vitality potion isn't difficult if they combine what they've learned, and they only need 2 ingredients. Beck volunteers. 1 hour, 34 minutes, and 20 seconds. 1 hour, 34 minutes, 20 seconds. He promises to bring a fireman large still, the main ingredient in the potion. Asel warns that he must bring a very fresh one, as monster cobs are used in alchemy. 1 hour, 34 minutes, and 28 seconds. It's important. She trusts the commoner because he looks confident. Our protagonist sets out to retrieve the fire lizard directly from its habitat. Meanwhile, the teacher privately calls a student and tells him to distribute the notes to the first-year alchemy groups, but not to Group 12, which is Telepot Maze's group, because she wants to sabotage them. The practical alchemy test will be conducted in front of professional alchemists, and failing this exam could destroy a student's future alchemist career. Professor Mayan wants Beck Yugio to regret challenging her authority. Flame stands on the S-class training field with her staff. A messenger student hands her the alchemy class notes and secretly warns her not to tell anyone else. Flame immediately realizes this is an attempt to harm Beck Yuzel's group. But she refuses to stay silent. After reading the notes, she discovers that the potion assignment has been changed from a vitality potion to a torrent point potion. Flame thinks that if Beck truly knows the original story, he should already know how to handle this. The new recipe requires replacing the fire lizard tail with the shell of an addicted spider for the tyrannicide potion. Thinking this is the perfect chance to test the protagonist, Flame watches carefully. Our hero teleports using his weapon, but the moment he arrives, he feels dizzy. At that very moment, A young female teleporter welcomes Maze to Dibble. He explains that he isn't an official mage yet, only a cadet, but despite that, people already treat him like an official magician. The mages nearby notice the Stella Academy uniform and become jealous of the cadet. The woman tells him that if he ever needs help, he can come find her. The protagonist then continues his journey armed only with his exit pass and Stella's pocket watch. Because of Stella Academy's prestige, he is treated with respect almost everywhere. The teleport hall normally costs 100,000 credits to use, but cadets are allowed free access. Beck often uses the teleport hall during weekends to revisit locations from the game and reclaim knowledge he already possesses. Eventually, he arrives at the destination where he must hunt a fire lizard. It's classified as a level 2 threat and is known for superior endurance, strength, magical defense, and speed. Because of this, a Class 2 spell is usually required to defeat one. Beck remembers defeating Class 1 monsters easily before, and believes he can handle this as well. The moment the fire lizard senses his presence, it immediately extends its claws and prepares to attack. The monster sneaks up from behind and tries to strike him, but our hero's sixth sense detects the danger instantly. Before the creature can even land a hit, he uses his magic sword and defeats it in a single attack. Moments later, the giant monster collapses onto the ground, and the protagonist wins his first hunt. He proudly says that he managed the first battle successfully. Then he notices 3 more fire lizards charging toward him. Instead of panicking, he smiles. Holding his magic sword firmly, he says it's time to collect the potion ingredients. Later, he hands the materials over to the girl, who notices how incredibly fresh they are. Asel praises Beck Yuzel for having a sharp eye for ingredients. She says that now all they need to do is prepare the correct potions. After this, the entire group becomes optimistic about the project. Asel starts helping him, and eventually it's time to present the assignment in Professor Mayan Turin's class. The examination is being held in front of official alchemists, and if the students perform well, it could greatly help their future careers as alchemists. The professor announces the main task and reveals that the assignment is to create a point potion. She asks whether everyone brought the correct ingredients, which immediately shocks Beck's group. Asel tries to complain because the requested potion was originally different. The teacher coldly confirms that she already announced the potion change, and the other students agree. Hiro becomes irritated by the teacher's attitude because he doesn't want his classmates to fail the test unfairly. While trying to remember the original story, Hiro exchanges glances with Flame. Flame finds this strange because she thought Beck already knew the story and would have avoided this trap. The group begins blaming Asel for bringing the wrong ingredients. The teacher harshly tells her not to confuse ingredients if she truly wants to become an alchemist. Just when Mon is completely certain that Group 12 will fail, someone interrupts her. Our hero steps forward and asks whether she simply wants them to create the Tyrant Point potion instead. Then he boldly says that he will do it himself. Despite using completely different ingredients and methods that appear superior to the teacher's own formula, the official alchemists begin whispering among themselves, clearly impressed by his confidence and skill. Our protagonist explains that the main ingredient in this potion is the shell of an Adak spider. These spider shells are filled with phytoncides, which is why the Tyrant Point potion has revitalizing effects. However, attempting to create a revitalizing potion using a fire lizard tail is considered extremely risky. The teacher doubts him completely and believes he is about to ruin his alchemy career in front of everyone. She announces that the time limit is 1 hour and demands that he complete the Tyrant Point potion within that time. Beck's teammates think he's completely insane, even though they know he's skilled at making potions. Beck tells them that since they're already here, they should at least try. He explains that attempting a different potion is still better than accepting failure and a terrible grade. Somehow, he motivates the entire group, and they slowly begin trusting him again. Our hero then starts explaining how the process will work. He reveals that during his gaming days, Alchemy was one of his greatest passions. He memorized every recipe in the game, from the simplest formulas to the most complex creations. Among them was the recipe for Turn Point Potion B, the very same formula that Professor Mine would invent in the future. Because of that, he never wanted to tamper with it. In the present, he explains to the group that the spider's shell is highly nutritious because it is used to incubate and protect its offspring. Similarly, the fire lizard possesses a special organ-like blood vessel that stores powerful nutrients. He explains that one desert tribe once used this vessel to strengthen the health of their chief, greatly increasing his lifespan. Hearing this explanation, one of the group members says he finally understands and wants to help. Our protagonist begins preparing the ingredients by drying the mistletoe using a magical drying technique. Another boy says he already knows how to handle that process, while Asel volunteers to process the magical drawings herself. Soon, the entire team becomes deeply focused and fully involved in creating the potion together. Our hero realizes they are performing far better than he expected. Everyone starts combining the ingredients exactly the way he instructed. Following his directions carefully, the group successfully creates a potion that is extremely similar to the intended formula. The teacher is shocked to discover that they actually managed to create a turn point potion. None of the alchemists can believe they truly used a fire lizard tail to produce it. The teacher becomes irritated because this potion was supposed to be the result of years of research and experimentation, yet the students recreated it so easily. The alchemists begin verifying the potion and perform several tests. They discover that while the formula is slightly imperfect and wastes a few ingredients, the final result still performs far better than ordinary potions. The group becomes excited and praises Beck for his excellent work, but the teacher only grows more irritated. She personally takes the potion to test it herself. She quickly realizes that the potion uses a technique capable of converting monster nutrients directly into vital energy. From every possible angle, it resembles a perfect turn-point potion. She becomes shocked and wonders how the students managed to create something even better than expected. Even so, she still plans to undermine them and considers disqualifying the group by claiming they lacked the proper ingredients. However, one of the senior alchemists argues that Group 12 deserves the highest grade for this task. Under pressure from the elder alchemist, the teacher is forced to accept the result, and Group 12 officially passes the examination. Our heroes are delighted by their success. However, the teacher's hatred toward Beck continues to grow, and alongside that hatred, her dark corruption also becomes stronger. Sometime later, the students of Stellar Academy are seen training their magic. Flame thinks that studying again at her age is exhausting, but she still decides to continue trying. Nearby, a group of girls talk about how Arzwang is performing even better than the princess herself. They say her fire magic talent is extraordinary, and that Princess Hung Bayan is nearly perfecting her control despite the intense training. Hearing this makes Flame panic slightly, because Hung Bayan's control was originally supposed to improve during the second year, not now. She begins wondering if this sudden growth is also connected to Beck Yuzil. When she reflects on what happened during the practical alchemy test, everything feels strange to her. The turn point potion was originally supposed to be a future discovery connected to Asel, yet Beck somehow recreated a formula that technically shouldn't even exist yet. Flame starts believing that Beck possesses knowledge of the future, but not necessarily knowledge of the original story itself. This leads her to wonder whether he is not a possessor, but instead a regressor. If he truly came from the future, it would explain why he remembers certain events while forgetting others related to Asel. In the original story, there was once an opportunity for regression, and in this world, the only being connected to the power of time is the Fiendsiple. Flame wonders what that mysterious entity is truly capable of. At that moment, someone interrupts her thoughts and asks what she thinks about Hwangbeek. She replies that he is an extremely peculiar student. The other person tries to get more information from her, but she refuses to explain further. When he asks whether she has concerns about Beck, Flame confirms that she does. She doesn't reveal many details, but internally she knows the reason is because Beck seems to know the story just as well as she does. Eventually, she decides that overthinking the issue is pointless. Instead, she plans to confront him directly at the teleport hall and ask him everything face to face. Wine Gang finds this idea unusual, but Flame thanks him for listening to her concerns the previous day. After she leaves, the noble boy's expression suddenly becomes strange and serious. A day later, the protagonist is seen sitting in the cafeteria. He is already aware that Mayan Turan's corruption level has reached 70%, meaning something terrible is likely to happen within the next 3 months. Her black corruption is expected to affect one of 3 students: Jackie, who is Flame's friend, Arung from Hung Bayan's group, or Hai Riang from Full Moon Tower. Among these possibilities, Hai Riang being corrupted would create the worst possible scenario in the game and lead to an extremely bad ending. Realizing how dangerous the situation is, he understands that he must act very carefully. While thinking about the most likely outcome, Flame suddenly approaches him. She sits down beside him and directly asks who he really is, since he avoided answering her properly the last time. Our protagonist becomes irritated because the question places him in a dangerous situation. He knows that sharing too much information could increase the chances of triggering the true ending. Still, he decides to attempt telling her the truth. But the moment he tries, a warning appears before him. He realizes that his narrative is incomplete, and that he is forbidden from revealing that he is a possessor. He cannot directly share his knowledge or secrets with her. After seeing the system freeze, he finally admits that there are some secrets he simply cannot reveal. Flame accepts this, and says they should at least share half of their secrets with each other. The girl then asks him directly whether he can see the future. He immediately realizes she went straight to the core of the issue, and concludes that she may also possess knowledge of the future. Instead of answering, he counters by asking what her objective at Stellar Academy is. Flame calmly replies that she is trying to save the world. She then questions his strange behavior and actions. Without thinking, Beck answers that acting this way is simply the best method for surviving under these circumstances. However, even after hearing this answer, Flame still isn't fully satisfied. She tells him to stop lying. She doesn't believe he's actually a good person, and thinks he must be helping others because he expects something in return. Our protagonist replies that he doesn't want anything at all, and honestly doesn't even know what he truly wants anymore. He says he simply wants to live quietly, without thinking too much about everything around him. Hearing such a strange and empty answer, Flame apologizes for being rude. Before our hero can ask her any more questions, she quickly says goodbye and leaves. Soon after, Hwanong angrily confronts Becky Uziel. He demands to know why Flame left in tears and refuses to leave the boy alone. At that moment, the protagonist realizes that Hwanong is in love with Flame. To avoid any misunderstanding, he immediately explains that nothing happened between him and Flame. After hearing his explanation and seeing his calm reaction, Hwanong accepts the answer and apologizes for asking such invasive questions. Still, our protagonist finds his behavior strange because Hwanong is usually cold, calm, and calculating. This unusual emotional reaction starts making our hero worried. Meanwhile, another girl cannot focus because she keeps thinking about the teleportation math and whether that technique had ever been used in potion making before. Our hero explains that the combination was actually something he created himself by piecing together different recipes. The girl, who has always considered herself a genius, realizes that if things continue this way, he might eventually surpass her completely. Because of that, she pushes herself even harder and wonders what mistake she made this time. She knows she will never be able to avenge her father if she continues falling behind. Her father had been branded a traitor and executed by cruel members of a powerful group. Remembering this only strengthens her determination to work harder and become stronger. Later that night, Flame suddenly wakes up in the middle of the night feeling disturbed. While thinking about Beck's words about having no goals, she slowly realizes the horrifying truth. He may have actually returned from the future. In the original novel's ending, Yunpa once explained that time could be reversed, but the memories of the reversed timeline would eventually disappear once the mission was completed. Nobody in the world would remember the person who saved it. Not even the hero's loved ones would remember him. Yet despite that cruel fate, some heroes still chose to travel back in time and try again. In the original story, the person who stopped Ma Yuzhong was actually Asel. She told him that she would rather accept destruction itself than continue living in a world without him. Hearing those words, Ma Yuzhong abandoned the idea of going back in time. Because of that decision, the world was ultimately destroyed, and the story ended with the tragic epilogue. But this timeline is different from the original story. Instead of Emma returning to the past, Beck traveled back in time using Yunan's power. That means once the mission is complete, Beck himself will disappear and be erased from the world entirely. Flame imagines that he has already lost most of his memories and is surviving only because of a sense of duty. Realizing this deeply motivates her to take action. As she gets out of bed, her friend Vern informs her that Hwanong has come to visit her at the dormitory. Flame doesn't want to meet him because she just woke up and doesn't want him to see her in such a state. She tells her friend to send Hwanong back. Sometime later, Flame's friend visits the boy during the night. He asks about Flame, and the girl tells him that she never came. He wonders if Flame is upset because she was rejected by someone like Beck. After hearing that, he quietly decides to return to his room. Watching him leave, the girl realizes something painful. Despite liking him very much, she doesn't even know his real name. She feels jealous of Flame because Flame always attracts extraordinary people and receives everyone's attention. She even won the heart of Hwang, which fills the girl with envy and frustration. Meanwhile, inside the main tower, Professor Mine is being harshly scolded for embarrassing herself in front of the students. The vice principal of Aki Hayden Academy reminds her that people have high expectations for her abilities. Mayan responds that her research with the church doctors is progressing successfully. The vice principal says he is counting on those results. As Maya leaves his office, her expression becomes dark and serious. Aki cannot control her anger anymore. She is a woman blinded by fame and ambition, who doesn't even realize that she is being manipulated. She finds it absurd that warriors are forced to fight against the demonic humans, while others continue benefiting from their suffering. With dangerous intentions growing inside her, Aki eagerly waits for the completion of black techno-magic. Meanwhile, our protagonist helps a woman who is struggling to carry a large stack of papers. She thanks Beck and explains that Professor Man would have scolded her again if she had dropped them. As he walks further, our protagonist notices that Emma's intermediate classroom is in complete chaos. His attention is suddenly drawn toward an alchemy diagram written on the blackboard. The girl explains that it is a formula currently being researched by professors and doctors. They call it the intersection of random flows, and the moment Beck sees it, his interest is immediately captured. After all, this formula is actually the foundation of black technomagic itself. During the Misson's corruption incident, the demonic humans originally helped complete this formula. Because of the technological gap between humans and demonic humans, enormous damage occurred in the original story. However, in this timeline, the arrival of Altherisha changes everything. Before the demonic humans or even the professor can fully understand it, she successfully deciphers the formula herself. Assistant Altherisha later invites our hero to have coffee with her. During their conversation, Beck suddenly asks whether Professor Mention constantly bullies and humiliates her. The assistant becomes confused by the strange question. Beck then asks what she would do if she had the opportunity to take perfect revenge someday. She replies that she is only an assistant. If she were to oppose Professor Mention, she would lose both support and her job. Our protagonist then tells her that instead of seeking revenge directly, she should become someone greater than Professor Mention himself, someone so talented that nobody would ever dare belittle or look down on her again. Hearing this idea, the assistant becomes deeply interested. Beck already knows that Altheresia is exhausted with her current life and no longer wants to continue living in a dusty storage room. Her true dream has always been to become a great alchemist capable of creating original inventions. And Beck knows she possesses the talent necessary to achieve that dream. He knows this because, in the future, she will become one of the greatest alchemical geniuses of the entire era. Using only her intelligence and creativity, she will go on to create countless revolutionary inventions. But at the moment, disappointed by life and overwhelmed by hopelessness, she has temporarily abandoned her dream. Our hero decides that he will help her someday. As Stellar Academy's first exams approach, he continues meeting with the assistant regularly. She becomes excited after realizing that both of them share similar ideas about experiments, magic, and alchemy. Our protagonist keeps giving Altheria new ideas and encouragement. He even provides her with money, so she can continue pursuing her passion for alchemy without giving up. Beck notices that Altheria's inventions are progressing smoothly, without any major problems. However, there is still one crucial step missing from the formula. He realizes that he must help the assistant discover the final solution before the professor reaches it first. But accomplishing that will not be easy. Suddenly, while walking through the hallway, someone stops him and asks why Beck Yuzel seems so distracted lately. It turns out to be Flame. She warns him that if he keeps walking around carelessly, he might eventually get beaten up. The girl jokingly calls him Uncle, making him slightly irritated when he realizes she's teasing him for acting older than his age. Our hero notices that Flame has started talking to him far more often than before, which feels strange to him. He then brings up the topic of Flame's friend Jackie. Flame jokingly hints that maybe Beck has strange intentions toward her friend, completely catching our protagonist off guard. Embarrassed, he quickly denies it, and instead warns Flame to take care of Jackie, because she may already be suffering from dark arrow corruption, and could be in serious condition. Flame explains that she plans to go hunting with Jackie during the weekend nights, and says she will personally handle the situation. The moment Beck hears about the hunting trip, he immediately realizes how dangerous things are becoming. After all, Mart Eva Cemetery is the location where the fourth episode begins. All of the main characters will gather there, including Mojang, Flame, and L. More importantly, there will also be a major battle against a powerful level 5 necromancer. Beck originally wants nothing to do with the incident. However, he knows that obtaining the secret reward there would help greatly during the familiar contract ceremony in the future. Meanwhile, the magic class submits leave requests to the professor. The professor reads the documents and comments that Stella students normally aren't supposed to learn swordsmanship or cavalry techniques. While checking the requests, he notices Mi Jiang's application. Another professor explains that many students are traveling to Mart Eva Cemetery as part of club activities and hunting practice. Ma and Haiyang are considered top students with excellent grades and strong dedication. However, Ma isn't actually going hunting. He's planning to return home instead. Haiyang, on the other hand, is going with Flame and the others. Hearing this shocks our protagonist, because without Ma present, they will not be able to properly face the necromancer. Beck already knows that without a special event occurring, Ma will never return in time, and defeating a level 5 necromancer would be nearly impossible without him. However, because of the narrative restrictions placed upon him, Beck cannot directly reveal the future or provide solid evidence to request reinforcements. Even so, he refuses to let his companions die. Eventually, he concludes that there is only one option left. He has to personally go there and deal with the situation himself. A few days later, the story moves to Martis Cemetery. Several students are seen conducting magical training exercises while fighting monsters in the area. A second-year student easily defeats a predatory fish monster. Another student complains that their captain always ignores orders and recklessly destroys everything in sight. The two begin arguing loudly, and a student named Bondian becomes irritated by the fight. She tells Isol not to worry about those idiots, because they are only angry after being embarrassed in front of freshman students. Bondian originally joined the club to earn a place on special hunting expeditions, but now she notices that the people there are no longer the same as before. At that exact moment, she calls out to her friend Isle, but suddenly a loud explosion echoes nearby. The girls immediately become alert and realize that someone is fighting close to them. Bandian Suanbi confirms with her captain that they are not allowed to interfere with another group's hunting grounds. They decide to send someone ahead to inform the other team and settle the issue peacefully. As they approach the scene, they discover two well-known figures standing face to face, Hang by Yun and Flame. It becomes clear that the two girls are about to fight. Flame argues that she struck the predatory fish first, while Hang insists that because the monster was inside the shared hunting area, it belongs to both of them. Bane points out that the fish is a dangerous level 3 risk monster, and the argument has now become a competition over hunting performance. Isle wants absolutely nothing to do with this conflict. More than anything else. She simply doesn't want to encounter Hung Bayan again. She wants to because she is the sister of the man who killed her father. So she decides to leave quickly. Just then, a freshman catches her attention. He says that if there are any problems, they should talk to an upperclassman. Both girls want to go their own way and say that if he's an upperclassman, he should behave accordingly. Do it. This offends the man. While they're arguing, the ground shakes, and the girls in the other group immediately notice. Strong energy is felt and skeletal hands emerge from beneath the ground, shocking both groups as a large number of them emerge from the cemetery. Skeletons begin to emerge. A tombstone bears a warning that you should not enter this place alone. A system notice also appears stating that skill experience and attribute experience is increasing. Our protagonist says he wants to use magic and thinks his teleportation ability is useless. Feeling that the time has come for the necromancer to appear, he begins searching for him, and while searching, he finds a unique tombstone near which he approaches slowly. He doesn't have the strong abilities to wipe out a skeleton army, nor does he have the overwhelming power of mising. He realizes that the only way to survive is to fight like the player. So, he takes the magic sword and stands before the tombstone. In episode 4, Necromancer's attack begins. Just then, the ground in front of our heroes begins to shake, and something emerges from the ground. Beck realizes it's a necromancer. The skeleton general is the one who commands hundreds of skeletons. A sub-boss level monster, who only appears 3 times in this episode. His current level calculating his chances of fighting the skeleton general head-on, he'll likely die at some point. Therefore, he doesn't even consider fighting this monster normally. Instead, he hits it directly on the head and pushes it back into the ground. When a creature is summoned or transformed, the rule is to stand still and watch. But our main character isn't about to stand still and be caught. He repeatedly attacks the head whenever he gets the chance, and eventually transforms that monster into a full-fledged spinal staff. Now, commands given to the skeleton general are also under our hero's control after transforming him into a staff. He admits to having underestimated himself. Then, a group of second-year students appears to be in trouble. Flame stands before a crowd of skeletons. She realizes it's an episode about the necromancer, but she feels something strange. If she's right, she needs to resolve the episode. The one who appears should be Emma Yuzian. She begins to wonder why Azel is with another group and why the story's protagonist isn't there. She fears it seems they might have to face a level 5 necromancer with this week's group. The team captain pulls out his pocket watch and warns Stella Academy of distress. Sends a request. The group will simply hold off the skeletons until the professors arrive. They will be able to do so even without defeating the necromancer. Byung holds up her staff and says they can't stay quiet like this. This is a cemetery, after all, and the more time they spend here, the more skeletons will appear. To which she tells them they have to return to camp. Meanwhile, a skeleton attacks a helpless girl. But then a water spell hits the skeleton directly, stopping it. This spell was cast by Yahello. He cast it to save his friend. A student praises him, saying that the necromancer came prepared and must have created a power vestal. Power waste cell is a technique where the necromancer stores his mana. He has a mana limit. If he summons 3rd and 4th level skeletons, it's difficult to summon more than a dozen of them for long. Still, he's dominated a large area, making him a very strong necromancer. The student sees the skeletons gathering and believes this was all planned out long ago. He imagines the necromancer killing them all. He wants to turn into skeletons because he's the vice leader, so he uses his most powerful magic to destroy everything at once. He decides to do it. But just then, a skeletal hand grabs his leg. Shocked, he screams. Just then, his friend Punch arrives. Hitting it removes the skeleton and saves it. Because it was in the middle of casting and was hit, there's bound to be a magical backlash. Several magical bolts are fired at it. The girls realize that if this extra berry explodes, their side will be hit, and within seconds, that's exactly what happens. The entire area is affected by her magical backlash. Flame reaches her limit fighting the horde of skeletons and complains that the situation is a bad thing because he's running out of mana and doesn't have time to recover. Furthermore, there are still plenty of enemies left. Just then, a Jumbai skeleton attacks him, causing him to lose his cool. She becomes frightened and thinks she might die right there. But just as one skeleton comes too close to her, it suddenly stops. Not just one, but all the others. The skeletons all stop moving at once. Just then, Teleport Maze appears behind them, walking through them with a cold gaze. Flame thinks, how did he get here? And then he sees the skeleton general. The skeleton general is much stronger than a normal monster. He must be accompanied by elite monsters. The girl is astonished at how Bikil managed to capture her alone. She can't believe it. But this is the only way she can get out of this situation alive. The entire group thanks the teleporter for saving them, and Isel asks her how she told the general how did he catch it alone? He casually mentions that he was fishing in the bone soup, failing to mention that he was camping at the very spot where he was supposed to be summoned. Then he decides to create a new monster, because the necromancer can ignore the general and control the monsters directly. Our hero has observed that the area around the necromancer camp